Let us talk about tending to living. Yes, indeed, let us talk. Let's have a talk about other possibilities. Let's have a talk about better things. Let us talk about preservation, restoration, and rebuilding. Let us talk about chastity, virtue, glory, and renown as high ideals, of honesty, duty, loyalty, and courageous action willingly undertook as the means to great ends. Let us talk of common action to the common ends as the best of ends. Let us talk about the clean, orderly future that awaits us after all this vigorous action. The happy and strong people of the world whom we should wish to emulate, past, present, future. Let us talk with pride of the beauty and light that our culture has and shall again project into this dark world in our valiant effort to push back the vile world of savagery. Let us talk about tomorrow rather than yesterday or even today, ever forward, ever onward towards victory. Let us look to the future that awaits us at the end of a glorious period of struggle, contest, and bitterly resisted intrusion upon our cultural sphere and living space by the dark hordes of the earth. Let us set aside thoughts of mass confrontation and talk more about mundane, daily routine things. Let us talk about emulating the good in others and negating the bad in ourselves thereby. Let us talk about a certain, for now to be unnamed, nation-state, which is in the here and now, based upon safe families, securely in their homes, happy around hearths, upholding their heritage in a tight-knit community of like families. Life building upon life. Let us walk among these people mentally and talk about what we see. The family is based upon a happy mother-father bonding pair, which seem to make the basis for the well-founded home and the tight-knit community in which life grows. The mother-father-child quantum is the well from which spring many similar persons into interlocked families which being bound together by blood and way of life, grow, as if from a single fertilized egg, naturally into a unified and united people. This people we are discussing have a living community of activity in which there exists, spiritually and mentally, a conscious commonality of language, manners, and morality. This people have a sense of a shared history going back to the first family, all the way back into the mist of hoar-haired time, an identity as old as the oldest rocks, but reborn in the face of every lawful citizen's child who is raised into this sacred and hallowed tradition. This people have a common cultural core that grows with them and shapes while it is shaped by the living people themselves. A vital culture that exalts their values, mores, and needs openly with satisfaction in itself. The morals of the families and the whole people are based upon honest dealing one to the other, frugality and use of material needs, dedication to one's family, kin, community, and labors, and mutual respect all to all. Each that gives respect is respected in kind. The culture of this people reflects and gives life to these high ideals, affirming boldly and loudly the good and censuring the ill with no regard for moral quibbles. Society is only a large, well-behaved family writ large to these people. This people, acting as an economic whole, are the vital living nation. The nation of its own will protects the land of the whole, the livelihood of the family, and the life of each loyal citizen who does his duty to the nation. Each citizen, as a sign of loyalty, serves in the capacity he is able, first his own family, then his local community, and then the whole polity in that order. The nation is wise enough to see that the citizen must have food, shelter, and clothing for the family to whom he belongs, and that order requires they provide these things by their own labors. Thus the nation ensures to each family as a unit the means to have a livelihood such that they may labor to provide for the family home. Since without this right, no other right has any meaning at all. Freedom starts with a family home free from want and able to honorably provide for themselves in this people's estimation. The final end of the nation is to ensure the people grow and produce enough material means to survive, and are overall virile and strong. The nation is simply the household economy that keeps its own and cares for all its members writ large. This people, as a political whole, are the state under which they live. The state is bound to the law, seeks to keep order, and as far as humanly possible seeks to ensure to each the justice rightfully due to them. The final end of the state is to ensure the people remain sovereign over their own land and can keep their own laws and way of life. The state is simply the household as a political unit writ large. The nation state is merely the combined family unit writ large among these wise, virile, healthy, and stable people. This nation state has certain values upon which it is based, and which act as its strong walls. They are loyalty, duty, honor, and courage. These values apply to all. Every citizen does their duty inside the family, community, and commonality with honor and courage. This acts as a mental, spiritual wall that keeps out enemies and allows for a united defense against the attacks of those enemies that do come to harm the common good. It keeps them on a common page and gives them a common frame of reference from which to base judgments and to understand one to the other. This people have a truly popular polity. This popular polity has accepted the cold logic of the needs pyramid as their foundational social logic. This is, in short, the reality that each citizen has material needs as regards food, clothing, and shelter, and thus that each must be allowed the right to labor to ensure these needs for society to be stable. This popular polity has accepted and mastered class by cooperating the higher and lower to all's advantage. They have had the wisdom to see that nature has divided abilities and rewards, but that it is best if all give a bit and work together for everyone. Thus class has given way to the common good. This people live with the knowledge that politics, economics, and society are tied together, with the family unit as the common source of origin, as the seed from which all the splendor of their existence springs. This people have created all this by purposeful design. As veritable modern Spartans, they have by will set aside the hedonism of the current age for a true and faithful people state in which home, commonality, hearth, culture, heritage, history are the basis for well-lived lives under their own order, law, and sovereign will. All this with the family unit as the secure and safe nuclei that lay out the template for the rest of the construction around them. The seed that sprouts into the nation-state tree when watered by tradition and cared for with loving devotion. The act of saving and strengthening the family has brought this people around from being death-based to being life-affirming. This people thus have order inside and keep chaos out, and because of this cultural cell wall, they have a living community of common interest, a community which has life beyond the mere material days of any one member, a community that acts to the common good. This people, because each is productively laborious, have real happiness among common cheer. True freedom being the freedom to live generation upon generation in the same ancestral home, free from fees and fines, living life to the fullest among kin, companions, and a community that has regard for your person. There is much among these free peoples to recommend themselves to us, but I would like to draw attention to the following few points. 1. All money among them is based upon goods produced. They use their own labor as credit and then pool and loan it out by means of credit unions. Usury is unknown among them. 2. They have learned that working together inside the circle of order multiplies efforts for the common good. Thus they have worked to ensure that each loyal person gets their just recompense from an honest day of labor. They have done this by driving out the merchants and pricing the value of their exchanges themselves using cooperative small markets and the just price, which is a fixed price throughout production. 3. These wise people have seen that charity is a means to elevate their fallen brethren. They find this binds them family to family and person to person, as well as ensuring that each is able to be productive. The common good is best served when all are able to do good for the commons. 4. These people's media is tasked with providing factual knowledge and allowing real living citizens a platform from which to voice concerns and ideas. It has zero commercial function, and it is purely a publicly owned utility. 5. These wise people have an educational system that starts at home with letters and numbers, goes on to all the core subjects needed to have well-rounded academic minds. But it is much more than mere letters and numbers. It is the morals that children are taught in the home early. It is the examples of loyalty, duty, honor, and courage that they have presented before their eyes. And it is capped by a citizenship course that teaches the young how to be loyal, dutiful, honorable, courageous citizens and honest, frugal, dedicated, respectful family and community members. 6. This leads naturally to the people's political associations, which act to give unity to the people at the same time as they allow for calmly contested considerations about what is the best means to the people's end. This calm contest brings out the ideas and the goods that come from party politics, but has none of the negatives, as there are no permanent factions, no corrupt deals to be had. Overall, the best ideas are found, tested, and applied by means of these associations across this people's land, because all freeholders in good standing are allowed a say, and included, the negative feelings generated by party factionalism are overcome and the common good is sought as the mutual good. This is a wise, strong, and forward-looking people who also have roots firmly in the past, but who above all live for the present days with their kin and kind here under the sun, seeking to prepare as best as possible for the glorious future that awaits them. This is a people who wish to see their ancestors without shame, having kept their traditions faithfully and with all honor. Thus this people live life to the fullest, as they are not afraid of dying, seeing it as the final act in the drama called life. Truly at this point there must be many who are asking, what people are these people? Where are they located? Well, you see, they are and they are not. They are not yet, but they are a future possibility for our own people if we work hard and make the choices necessary to grasp this potential destiny. There is much work to be done, most of it inside of our very souls. The group, the family, the community must become the central focus, and the sterile individual devoid of dynamic existence must be left on the examination table of liberalism, a siren warning to all that try to dissect life. Once this is done, then the ideal of the family-based nation-state must be sold to the masses. They must see in this idea all the hopes, dreams, and securities they have had shattered by the modern world order. They must come to see in this idea the values they would have themselves reflect day to day. They must see in this idea the safe, orderly, and clean schools, playgrounds, communities that they yearn for in their heart of hearts. They must see the existing system as thoroughly vile, degraded, and unworthy of fighting to preserve. And they must see the ideal as the spotless model from which to rebuild. Then and only then will the masses have the moral courage necessary to let go of the old and to wisely make room for the new in their hearts, their lives, and their material reality. They will thus be willingly driven to destroy what is death-affirming and to cling to what is life-affirming. They will in fact demand that leaders act to fulfill this newfound need once the need comes into its own. As a new baby, this idea will demand attention. This idea will be thought out in terms of families, in homes, around hearths, passing on heritages. These families then form a people who live in several communities which have commonality of language, manners, and morals, a shared history, and cultural ties. These families and the people as a whole are honest, frugal, dedicated, and respectful as primary cardinal virtues. This people then form a nation which protects the land, livelihood, and life of the people inside the circle of life. The people also form a state which protects against threats to the above using law applied without partiality or mercy, orderly punishments, and justice equally given to all. The nation-state imbues loyalty, duty, honor, and courage, as this nation-state is not an abstract, but the citizens' families and friends, their very loved ones, their very selves. This idea is what nationalism is all about, and what we should be talking about, in my humble opinion. Popular national states, with the family unit as the central nucleus, is the future of our kind. Let us talk about that future. Let us promote it as light in the darkness, as the rock amidst the storm. Let us do this for our people's best good. Thank you.